Welcome back. The 2022 budget request for the Defense Department is due any day. The hints of what may be included are in the skinny budget the Biden administration released last month. Stacie Pettyjohn is Senior Fellow and Director of the Defense Program at the Center for a New American Security. She and her colleague Becca Wasser are writing about the budget under the title Making Sense of Sense. Stacie, welcome. Thanks for coming on the program. First, I love the title, so kudos for that. You identified some strategic objectives in the skinny budget. What did you see there?
Sure. First, I have to give credit for the title to Becca because that was all of her idea. So in terms of objectives, one of the overriding ones to keep in mind is the fact that the Biden administration has promised to elevate non-military tools of diplomacy and statecraft. So you see the Defense Department is still very well funded with a $715 billion top line. But within that context, more resources are going to the Department of State, Commerce, Treasury, USAID, other institutions. In general, though, the strategic guidance that has been given is largely a continuation of what the Trump administration had done in terms of prioritizing great power competition, in particular with an emphasis on focusing on the pacing threat, which is China, Russia being a revanchist power and a slightly lesser threat. In addition to that, you find that the Biden administration elevates some other missions for the department that were not as much of a priority under the last administration. And that includes countering transnational threats, such as climate change and bio threats, such as the pandemic that has been plaguing all of us now.
You write about 6 areas of interest in this work, and you suggest that the department will have to realign resources, and you list those as the Pacific Deterrence Initiative, long-range fires, naval shipbuilding, research and development, nuclear modernization, transnational threats. What has to go, do you think, what are you proposing should go in order to get money to direct to those priorities?
We didn't propose anything that should go, and this is an area of great contention because what actually constitutes a legacy system is not entirely apparent, since some really old weapon systems still are quite useful, like the B-52 aircraft. What you have heard is that there have been rumors and leaks that the Air Force is planning to divest some 400 plus older aircraft, including the F-15C D models, as well as some other systems, in order to make room in their budget to fund some of their modernization priorities, such as the Advanced Battle Management System and the Next Generation Air Dominance Fighter. There have also been rumors that, at least from the FY21 program of record, that one less destroyer is going to be funded in this FY22 budget request. But all of that remains to be seen right now.
Is that a potential strategy to work around cases? You referenced the A-10 and others in your work that the services have tried to get rid of in the past and haven't been able to. Congress won't let them. We'll speak on the program in a moment about the Littoral Combat Ship and the Navy decommissioning 2 of those ships a number of years early. And I wonder if that doesn't turn into more of a long-term strategy for the services to just accelerate divestiture of pieces rather than trying to get rid of whole programs and meeting resistance on Capitol Hill. Is that something maybe to pay attention to moving forward, Stacie, that we should expect to maybe see more of?
I would think so. I mean, you've seen the Air Force say that they're going to keep the A-10, at least in the leaks right now. It's one of the 4+1, though they're slowly going to move to phase it out as over the next 5-6 years. But it doesn't yield as great of cost savings when you continue to keep a line open, because the maintenance requirements are still there and the spare parts are needed. So greater savings come from actually divesting of an entire type of a system, but that might not be politically feasible.
When the budget drops in the next few days, what's the first thing that you'll look at? People who are interested in these things usually have a thing that they want to see first. Do you have a thing that you want to see first, Stacie?
I've been very intrigued by the long-range fires debates, given that all of the services are heavily vested in this area and have a lot riding on it. And I think there are some reasons that you might want redundancy in terms of long-range fires, because when you are planning to fight or deter a great power, you need to ensure that your system is resilient, which means that you're not trying to be as efficient as possible. But I'm really curious to see whether the new mid-range capability that the Army's trying to acquire is funded. That's either the Tomahawk cruise missiles or SM-6. In large part because that is going to require the Army to create some new force structure to support those units, since they don't exist right now. It has been something that the former Indo-PACOM commander had highlighted as a priority, having post-INF ground-based missiles in the first and second island chain in the Pacific. But right now, there isn't any country that is quite willing to host them either. So I'll be interested to see whether the department decides to make those investments right now.
Stacie Pettyjohn, thanks very much for joining me. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having me.